Today is February 2nd, 2020, and this is UAP Review. Good morning. Today we're going to look at the unidentified reports out of Cannon Air Force Base and Clovis, New Mexico in late January 1976. As we do this, please remember that every sighting provides the opportunity to study both the phenomenon and the environment and history of the chosen location. The stunning find is that UFOs often maneuver to educate humans on urgent issues with a light touch that until recently, due to ridicule, was only noticed and addressed by the planet's authorities. Cannon Air Force Base is located 7 miles southwest of the town of Clovis, near the New Mexico border with the Texas Panhandle. It is one point of interest in a larger area that includes various nuclear weapon, airbase, and missile sites. These key locations are provided on the chart. In 1976, the aircraft of interest flying out of Cannon would have been the problematic D variant of General Dynamics F-111 Aardvark, a supersonic, variable geometry fighter strike bomber with the 27th Tactical Fighter Wing. Casual followers of UFO news are often surprised when told that the sound of an F-111 flyby was included on each of the 2 Voyager Golden Records that were launched in August and September of 1977.
And if Voyager should, sometime in its distant future, encounter beings from some other civilization in space, it bears a message. A phonograph record, golden, delicate, with instructions for use. And on this record are a sampling of pictures, sounds, greetings, and an hour and a half of exquisite music, the Earth's greatest hits. A gift across the cosmic ocean from one island civilization to another.
Voyager's Golden Record is explored in full in another one of my videos, and I'll place a link to that in the comments below. The most dramatic UFO connection, however, is that Clovis and Cannon have just been in the news over groundwater contamination due to Air Force firefighting operations since the early 1970s, in confirmation of the theory that UFOs are looking after human health risks. The same contamination was found at other Air Force bases that have had reports of UFO sightings.
They told everybody in August the water was safe to drink. Now Cannon Air Force Base admits numerous wells on and off base are not safe. The State Environment Department issued a warning today. A chemical foam used in firefighting has been found in the wells. It has been linked to cancer and other disease. News 13's Allison Martinez is in the Newsplex with more.
Kim, the contaminated wells have been found on and off Cannon Air Force Base. The Environmental Department is encouraging anyone with a well within a 4-mile radius of Clovis Base to drink bottled water until further notice. The chemical foam that was discovered goes by the abbreviation PSAF. It is associated with an increased risk of cancer. The level for consuming this chemical is 70 nanograms per liter. Off-base wells have readings from 25 to 1,600 nanograms per liter. On-base readings have reached 26,000. The Department of Defense announced in April that 126 bases had wells contaminated from the chemical foam. Cannon said initial test shows in August that there was no contamination. The Environmental Department wanted more testing to be done, which led to today's announcement. Some of that well water was used at local dairies, and because of that, the Food and Drug Administration is looking into associated health risks.
While U.S. above-ground nuclear testing had ended by the mid-1960s, the possibility that the Air Force was again poisoning humans through our milk and beef is something that our ET angels would likely take samples to determine. This then could explain the various cattle organ extractions in the mid-1970s as the danger was monitored. In past installments to this channel, we have seen that UFOs often present themselves in areas of concern to human health. UFO interest in nuclear weapons has been highlighted by the excellent research done by Robert Hastings and the testimony provided by Lieutenant Professor Robert Jacobs, Captain Robert Salas, and Captain David Shindaley, all three formerly with the United States Air Force. In 1952, very bright light UAPs pointed to the pollution associated with the coal-fired power plant at Salem, Massachusetts. The photo was taken by U.S. Coast Guard service member Shell Alpert. With this background provided, we can now look at the specific events in January 1976. On Wednesday morning, January 21, 1976, a memorandum for record was entered and signed by Rear Admiral James B. Morin, Deputy Director for Operations of the National Military Command Center. The National Military Command Center is a Pentagon command and communications center for the President and the Secretary of Defense. It is responsible for generating emergency action messages to missile control centers, nuclear submarines, reconnaissance aircraft, and battlefield commanders. The important memorandum read as follows. The following information was received from the Air Force Operations Center at 05:55 Eastern Standard Time. 2 UFOs are reported near the flight line at Cannon Air Force Base, New Mexico. Security police observing then reported the UFOs to be 25 yards in diameter, gold or silver in color, with blue light on top, hole in the middle, and red light on the bottom. Air Force is checking with radar, additionally checking weather inversion data. Signed, J.B. Morin, Rear Admiral, U.S. Navy, Deputy Director for Operations, National Military Command Center. For an appreciation of 25 yards of size, an artist's rendering of 2 possible shapes reported this month over Clovis have been placed against the high school football field. The Air Force was not the only one reporting. On the 22nd, the News Journal reported 12 UFOs observed over Clovis. You can pause the video to read this article and the others that follow. I call your attention to the fact that Clovis Police Corporal Randy Johnson, Officer Henry Pervez, and author Scott Price observed 12 bright pulsating lights arrange themselves in a circle in the night sky west of town. This should remind viewers of Robert A. Pizzuli's 1984 video over Brewster, New York. Using Steve Moscato's amateur telescope, the author and numerous police officers, for a total of 11 people, all went on record as having observed a bright white hot dog or cigar-shaped object with 2 black circular areas at each end. On January 23rd, St. Joseph News Press ran a UPI story quoting Clovis Police Corporal Randy Johnson, who stated that on Wednesday the objects moved along the horizon with the speed of a commercial jet, but in subsequent nights their movement oscillated up and down. On the 24th, the story appeared in the Albuquerque Tribune that the Clovis police officer Henry Pervez was, along with 3 men from Los Alamos National Laboratory, investigating a burn spot 10 miles north of Clovis near a cemetery. The Las Cruces Sun-News on 25 January 1976 relayed that police reported scores of sightings between 6 p.m. and 10:30 p.m. Friday, the 23rd of January, an hour before the observers from Los Alamos arrived. On the 26th of January, the Daily Press out of Artesia, New Mexico, 130 miles southwest of Clovis, reported similar UFO light arrangements on Saturday, the 24th. The name Artesia is the lock on the argument that the sightings at Cannon and Clovis are directly related to the pollution of artesian well groundwater. Did human authorities ever acknowledge this and thank their ET guardian angels for the tip? Finally, on the 27th, we see that even the respected Orville Hoyt Pattison, who had been serving as a New Mexico state rep since 1963, could not escape the standard ridicule associated with laying claim to having seen a UFO. Ridicule is a technique attempting to prevent the people from seeing UAP Federation guidance before human leadership can cover.